What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Hope all's good wherever you are. In this video, we got our boy Charlie Kirk at Portland University absolutely melting a few snowflakes. Let's get into it.
I don't disagree with what you're saying, but I think your presentation is rather disrespectful.
Why is it? Why? What? How are you?
I'm a registered Republican.
Nice to see you.
Yeah.
But there's, I'm not
proud of that. But
there's nothing disrespectful about saying that sentence, though.
No, I think it offends certain people.
But is that my problem?
No. Okay, but here, this is what we're saying is
It's not. I'm not trying to be disrespectful.
No, I know exactly what you're saying, and as someone who is on the right, who goes to school in the middle of the most far left place in the United States, I understand how frustrating it is to stand here and have people be told you're wrong. I've been told I'm pro-lynching, I'm pro-gun, I'm all this stuff. I'm just okay. That is definitely your opinion. I've seen one too many kids die in the last year to agree with that. But
I was a high schooler shooting.
But anyway, it's just what I think what we're trying to say is we can hold these opinions, but this representation right now, the ice hat and stuff, there are more people standing back in fear to listen to what we're saying, and I think that is sadly what gives us a bad rep, is that we're not able to have these conversations that you are pushing that are great. But the thing that sucks and what is being in Portland and where it's liberal is that we have to sit and we have to present ourselves in such a high way to even be nearly respected for it that, where all these other people on the left can just go at it and it's considered passion and great conversation, but we can't have it. So that's all I'm saying is that and what she was basically trying to say is your points are valid and it should be heard, but the representation of this sign is causing more people to not want to listen than if you just sat and talked.
That's exactly correct. But here's the problem: is that we need to highlight that. If all of a sudden you can't say this sentence and they turn you off, I am illustrating such a cultural cancer that exists.
That I know, and I definitely
you see that, because look, there should be nothing. I have nothing but love for all people, but love does not
demonstrated in that sign to me. In your hat and in that sign, that's
okay. So the hat, I love them because they go after child traffickers who I think should be put in prison forever. And I've known communities that have been cleaned up by ICE. So let me make it perfectly clear. ICE
gets. You also recognize that they tear families apart.
Well, they go after illegal immigrants, sure, that broke our federal immigration laws. I'll get to that in a second. But nothing I say here is, it's a misillustration of what I'm saying. Oh, it's incited at hate. Talk to me, have a conversation. But if people are offended by this,
that is why we're having this conversation.
This should not be deemed offensive by anybody. You could disagree with it, but that shows how.
Why shouldn't it be offensive? If somebody doesn't identify as male or female, identifies as transgender, or you can say them pronouns.
They can do that, but don't force me to pay for it. And I can also have my own opinion that biologically, chromosomally.
I think that you can hold that opinion and also
yes, exactly. That's what I mean.
Right, but I think you can also respect.
I do respect.
Right, but saying that shows disrespect.
No, it doesn't. That's the whole point.
If the sign said didn't identify as female or male, I would feel offended.
But that's the problem. We become so soft because I don't say I hate transgender people. If I said that, then I would understand your argument. I don't say I think transgender people should be locked up. I didn't say any of that. I simply made a statement of opinion that based on my analysis of biology, this is not even my analysis, biological analysis of reality, this is correct. And what I'm also doing is I'm showing that a simple statement such as this should not trigger people, because we've moved the goalposts so far in this country, we've become so soft and so weak that if someone makes a Make America Great Again hat on, they think that they're wearing a swastika symbol. And that's wrong. And so for example, to my death, I will defend someone to be able to burn the American flag. It pains me. I think they should be able to do it, and I want to have a conversation with that person. And I would say that's far more offensive than this, but if I said something so there's people that are intentionally provocative, okay? There's people that go to campuses that say...
you clearly are, which is not
No, there's people that...
You don't think this sign in your hat
No, that's exactly the point. If someone says feminism is cancer, there's people that go to college campuses and say that. I'm not going to say their name. This is a very simple statement that's a widely accepted scientific consensus.
That's subjective.
Is it?
You're stating an opinion.
You're stating an opinion. And it might be a scientific standard for some people, but that doesn't mean that because in your reality this is the truth, that it isn't subjective and that this isn't going to hurt other people. When you show up and you make this statement, that a lot of people that this might counteract their very identity.
So funny that talking about the transgender people, the one girl told Charlie that your reality is not the reality? The delusion is real. Did she not listen to herself speak when she said that? Because I think that's what we all say about trans community. It's almost like, man, you can wear a dress if you want as a grown man, if you feel like looking like a woman, presenting like a woman, you want to get the boob job, leave women's spaces alone, don't go into women's sports, protect the kids, all that stuff. But what you do inside your own home or in public, we don't care. But when it comes to laws and the pronoun laws, speech laws, and this becoming hate speech if you use the wrong pronoun, that's exactly what we say. Your reality and the reality are two very different things. This is the weakest generation ever. The one girl said, well, I'm a Republican. Listen, you're still a snowflake, and at the same time, just because you're a registered Republican or a Democrat, that doesn't necessarily make you one. I know a lot of conservative people who vote Republican that are not registered Republican. Let's get back to the video.
So two things. But you should never not say something based on someone trying to be offended by it. You should only say what you believe. And if that offends someone, so be it. Think very. I'm sorry?
Why in this setting? Why?
Well, because we have nothing but really good conversations and discussions. And I think what makes this country on the verge of going to a place we don't want it to go right now is we're afraid to go to places like this and have these conversations. I'm not. Obviously, I'm in the less than 1% of the consensus here on campus. But isn't that what makes civil discourse so interesting? Like, it's not easy for me to come here and have people say, go to hell, F you. Like, that's not fun.
I really respect that.
Right?
I really, truly do.
It would be like going, it would be like going with I hate a Christianity sign to a church. And that's not easy.
No, and I'm not saying that is, and I really do respect you for doing this and for presenting
Sure.
your opinion, because I think it is important
Thank
to have
you.
civil discourse.
Yeah.
But I just think that for me personally, when I go into conversations, I try not to offend anybody and to have respect, and I try to state my opinions and beliefs and recognize that those are opinions and beliefs, and that I come with my worldview and my bias and not
Sure.
state things that maybe I believe as facts, because I think that makes me more open to the discourse itself than having it be in my
No doubt, and anyone can come and say anything they want to me. That's the other part. And I'm not inciting any hatred towards a specific group of people. That's being wrongly inferred with this statement. And that's the broader point. So let me give you a point. People say, the president says X, Y, and Z, the president does this, therefore he hates this group of people. Let's just take a broad-based example. You may believe that, I'll disagree with that. But when you start to use these logical inferences, all of a sudden you castigate entire segments of the population. So people say, oh, that part of the country, they're all
Can you give me
racist.
an example?
Yes, for example, when people say flyover country, they're all racist, or they're slope-headed, or people in Alabama, they're backward thinking. Stuff like that. You hear that on the media every so often. That's such a gross overgeneralization, which happens when you stop talking to people.
Isn't this an overgeneralization?
No, I think it's quite specific. That's the thing. And again, I will defend this, and you could have your own opinion and disagree with it, but that's what makes it exciting, isn't it? That's what it's all about, is I state facts, you state facts, and we have mutual respect without violence. Because violence is all bad. We agree with that. A lot of violence has happened in this city recently because people come at it from hatred positions. I don't want that. Now, there's a difference. I say nothing to provoke people. I say what is true.
I think you say nothing to provoke violence. I think this is to provoke people, to bring people into the conversation.
It starts
which I don't think
conversation,
is
but I
wrong.
do not intentionally try to offend. I don't wake up every single day and I was like, I hope I can get people to cry.
Right.
No, that's not my.
I believe you. But I think.
That would be very masochistic of me.
Right.
Like, I'm trying to get people to suffer.
But
That's
you can
not.
provoke people not violently, but to think and to speak to you, and I think that's what you're
And
doing.
look, you're having a conversation because of it.
I'm not saying that's wrong.
Cool.
I'm just saying earlier you said you don't provoke people, but I think this is
Okay, the tactic
not
might
in a
provoke
negative
people.
way.
Okay.
I think generally provoking.
Yeah,
is
I
used
think
in a
I could
negative
agree with that.
way, but
Yeah,
I think
but there are certain people that come to campuses who will say hateful things to try to get attention and push the boundaries of free speech.
Get way too emotional. There are speech laws. You're not allowed to incite violence. But everything else, whether you like it or not, it's called free speech. In the words of Jordan Peterson, you have to risk offending people in order to get to the truth. I'll even quote Ben Shapiro here. Facts don't care about your feelings. These woke people, oh, I'm offended. Where's my reparations? Just because you're offended doesn't make it hate speech. And Charlie mentions the American flag. Look, listen, there's lots of stuff that I see out there that I think is total nonsense. But I wouldn't want to take the rights of these people away from speaking what they want to speak. What I gathered from this video is that having been to Oregon, Portland is not a good representation of that state, and also that Charlie seems to be the only person on campus who's actually teaching something to these woke minds out there. The one girl told Charlie Kirk, well, ICE, they're tearing families apart. Listen, you're coming into a country illegally. Your first action into a country is coming in illegal. Anywhere in the world, if you do that, I shouldn't say anywhere in the world, many places in the world, you go straight to jail if you do that. And you are separated from your kids in a sense because you can't keep the kids with a bunch of adults. So like Child Protective Services takes them. You're not going to have some small children in a jail. But why do we have to be so compassionate to people that are crossing the border like that? Over 2 million people have been crossing the border every year for the last few years. Over 2 million a year. Philadelphia, the 6th largest city in the U.S., is 2 million people. You're letting in a new Philadelphia full of illegals into the country every year. And I get it. Again, I've mentioned this before. I get it from the illegal immigrant point of view, right? You're coming in, you get more opportunity. You're going to get some free healthcare. You're going to get some housing, most likely. But what about the American taxpayer? Because we spend $200 billion to feed, house, and care for illegal migrants in America. $200 billion a year. How many of those billions do you think could go to shutting down the border instead of spending it on the people that are crossing illegally? These people that are taking jobs away from low-skilled Americans. You think, oh, let's be compassionate, let them in. No. What this does is it drives down the minimum wage. Low-skilled Americans can't get jobs because some people are going to hire a migrant that's willing to do the work for a quarter on the dollar, 50 cents on the dollar, 70 cents on the dollar, whatever the case may be. Yes, ICE serves a purpose. Nobody likes to see parents and children being separated from each other. That's not a nice thing to see. But if you were driving and you were drinking and driving and the cops stopped you, they would separate you from your children. You're committing a crime. Wild way of thinking. Anyways, I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, smash that thumbs up button. Consider subscribing to the channel. Help it grow, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Peace out, everybody.